Champagne towers, the Eiffel Tower, fashion capital. But if you were actually born in France, you'd be walking down streets that smell of fresh croissants at 7 a.m., living in a world where vacation makes up 30% of your life. This video will show you the real French life behind the glossy postcards. And don't miss the last 30 seconds, because our next video will surprise you. France. Europe's third largest country, 67 million people. An incredible geography stretching from the Alps to Mediterranean coasts, from lavender fields to Normandy beaches. But France isn't just Paris. When you're born in this country, you become part of a society with one of the world's strongest social security systems. This is where your maternity leave lasts 16 weeks. University education is almost free, but unemployment hovers around 7%. Being born in France means growing up in a culture where history, art, luxury, and protest are all intertwined. This is a country where returning to the office after work hours is illegal, where Sundays are sacred, yet it has one of the world's most productive economies. Contradictory? Absolutely. That's France. So what do you know about France? I'd love to see your guesses in the comments. The moment you're born in France, the state gives you a number, your social security number. This number will follow you throughout your life. Doctor visits, school registration, retirement plan, everything is tied to this number. You grow up in a typical French family. The average family has 1.8 children. If your mother works, the state provides her with 16 weeks of maternity leave and pays most of her salary. Your father can also take 28 days of paternity leave. Plus, when you're born, the state gives monthly child benefits, approximately 130 euros. Childcare in France is state-supported. At age 3, you start free preschool education. This system, called École maternelle, isn't just about playing. It teaches children socialization, art, and basic discipline. Here, kids learn to use knives and forks, table manners, and even basic painting techniques. At home, there's a typical French setup. Families generally live in apartment flats. Homes are small but functional. An average apartment is 8,100 square meters. Every evening, meals are cooked in the kitchen. Ready-made meal culture is virtually non-existent. Families sit together at the table. Meals are a ritual. Even if the TV is on, people talk during dinner and share stories from their day. And remember, because you're born in France, you're automatically a French citizen. You have an EU passport. This means you can move freely in 27 countries. Your childhood revolves around street games and parks. Green spaces are everywhere in France. On Sundays, families go to parks and have picnics. Cycling is a huge culture. At age 5, they buy you your first bike, and you learn to glide through neighborhood streets without pedals. Your favorite moment as a child, going to the boulangerie, bakery, with your dad every Sunday morning. You'll never forget the smell of warm baguettes and chocolate breads. At age 6, you start elementary school. The French education system is strict but egalitarian. The distinction between private and public schools isn't very clear. Most families send their children to public schools because they're quality. School days start at 8:30 and end at 4:30. But Wednesday afternoons are off. France has a midweek breather. Lunch lasts 1.52 hours, and the school cafeteria serves a full meal. Soup, main course, cheese, dessert. No burgers and pizzas, real food. Children learn table culture from a young age. At 11, you move to middle school. At 15, to high school. High school lasts 3 years. In your final year, you take the Baccalauréat exam. This exam is your ticket to university. Difficulty level is high. Stress is big. Students who fail this exam are directed to technical schools. Your social life also takes shape during your youth years. French youth love hanging out. Cafes, cinemas, museums. If you live in Paris, there's a new museum or exhibition every weekend. If you live in the countryside, you meet friends in village squares or local cafes. Technology use is high, but not as much as American youth. French young people dedicate more time to reading books, cinema, and art events. The average French teenager reads 12 to 15 books per year. Also, the French are more flexible with youth and alcohol. Drinking wine or beer at 16 is considered normal. Having wine with your family at dinner is part of your cultural education. At 18, you make a big decision. University. University in France is almost free. Annual registration fees average 200–300 euros. This is an incredible privilege compared to $50,000 tuition fees in the US. But competition is very high. Getting into a good university isn't easy. Getting into prestigious schools like Sorbonne, Sciences Po, or HEC requires a tough exam marathon. During university years, you live in student dorms or small studio apartments. The state provides rent assistance to low-income students, about 200–400 euros a month. So education is free, rent assistance exists, health insurance is covered. Being a student in France is truly advantageous. By the way, which country's education system do you think is better? France or another model? I'm curious. Living as an adult in France means adhering to a certain rhythm. Here's a typical day. You wake up at 7 a.m. Breakfast is simple: a croissant or baguette, butter, jam, and coffee. The French don't make breakfast a big deal. The main meals are lunch and dinner, but that croissant's flavor is a taste you won't find anywhere else in the world. You go to work. If you live in Paris, you're part of metro culture. The Paris metro is fast, frequent, but crowded. A daily ticket costs around 2 euros. Monthly subscription is 75 euros. No need for a car. Driving in Paris is a nightmare anyway. Traffic is heavy, no parking spots, fuel is expensive, around 180 euros per liter. Most Parisians don't own cars. Bikes, metro, and walking are the main transportation methods. The working week in France is 35 hours. Yes, you heard right. You work 35 hours a week, and this is a legal right. Overtime is also difficult. Laws don't allow it. Plus, you have 5 weeks of paid vacation annually. In August, half the country is on vacation. Cities empty out. Everyone goes to beaches and villages. Lunch hour is sacred. 1400 is a long break. Many French people go home or sit in restaurants. Fast food isn't American style. It's a sit-down, relaxed eating culture. A lunch menu: salad, main course, dessert, and coffee. Approximately 12 to 15 euros. After work in the evening, you go home. You shop at the supermarket. Supermarkets are everywhere in France. Carrefour, Auchan, Monoprix. Prices are reasonable. A baguette is 1 euro. Cheese varieties are unlimited. France has over 400 types of cheese. Wine starts at 5 to 10 euros. Dinner is again a family table. TV is on, but the meal table is respected. A French meal has 3 stages: starter, aperitif, and small snacks, main course, cheese, dessert. A meal can last 1 to 2 hours. You don't rush. After dinner, a light walk might happen, or a brief chat with neighbors. Housing situation. In Paris, an average rental apartment is 1,200 to 1,500 euros. In the countryside, this drops to 600–800 euros. Home ownership rate is around 65%. Most people try to own a home. Houses are generally old buildings but constantly renovated. The French place great importance on architectural heritage. Weekend routine. Saturday morning, you go to the local market. You buy fresh vegetables, fruits, cheese, charcuterie. Sunday is family day. Lunch is long and crowded. Grandma, grandpa, aunts, cousins, everyone gathers. In the afternoon, a park walk or museum visit. Evening, sometimes you meet friends at a bistro. A glass of wine, some cheese, endless conversations. The French love socializing but aren't loud. They prefer calm, deep conversations. France isn't perfect. Crime rates are rising in big cities. Some neighborhoods in Paris aren't safe, especially at night. Theft, mugging, and petty scams are common. You always need to stay alert at metro stations. Unemployment is a problem, especially among youth. The rate is around 15 to 20%. Graduating from university and not finding a job is a huge disappointment. The job market is rigid. They want experience, but you need a job to gain experience. The classic catch-22. Bureaucracy is frustrating. For any official procedure, you have to wait in queues for hours and prepare tons of documents. French bureaucracy is one of Europe's most complex. Getting a residence permit can take months. Taxes are very high. Income tax can go up to 45%. When you add Social Security deductions, almost half your salary is gone. But in return, you get free health care and education. Immigrant integration creates problems. France has a large immigrant population, and most live in banlieue, suburb areas. These areas are economically disadvantaged, and social tension is high. Climate isn't the same everywhere either. The south is hot and sunny, but the north is cool and rainy. Winter months in Paris can be gloomy. The sky is gray, rain is frequent. Seeing the sun becomes a luxury. Rent prices are very high, especially in Paris. Young people struggle to find housing. Landlords demand 3 months' worth of pay stubs, a guarantor, someone who vouches for you, and a pile of documents from tenants. But France's advantages are tremendous. The healthcare system is one of the world's best. When you go to the doctor, the state covers 70 to 100% of the costs. Surgery, medication, hospital, everything is covered. If you have a chronic illness, your treatment is completely free. Education quality is very high. France's universities and grandes écoles are recognized worldwide, and they're almost free. Master's and PhD programs are equally accessible. Cultural richness is unmatched. Louvre, Orsay, Versailles, Mont-Saint-Michel. France is the world's most visited country, and you live here. You can go to these places whenever you want. You don't need to buy a plane ticket to visit the Louvre. You take the metro. Food culture is world heritage. UNESCO recognized French cuisine as intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Croissant, baguette, escargot, coq au vin, crème brûlée, ratatouille, bouillabaisse. The list goes on. Vacation culture is flawless. 5 weeks vacation, 35-hour work week, long lunch breaks. Work-life balance truly exists in France. Burnout rates are lower compared to other Western countries. Transportation network is excellent. With TGV high-speed train, you can get from Paris to Marseille in 3 hours. Train connections exist to all of Europe. Spain, Italy, Germany, Belgium, you can easily go everywhere. Being an EU member is a huge advantage. You can work and live freely in 27 countries. No passport control. If you want, you move to Barcelona. If you want, Berlin. Nature diversity is incredible. Skiing in the Alps, sea at Côte d'Azur, lavender fields in Provence, green valleys in Normandy, everything in one country. Let's imagine a little scenario. Let's say you were born in Lyon. You're the child of a middle-class family. Your mother is a teacher, your father an engineer. You grow up in your apartment flat. The apartment is small but warm. From the window you can see the Rhône River. Every Sunday at breakfast you eat fresh croissants. Your grandfather taught you wine culture when you were little. At age 7, you tasted a drop of wine for the first time. Your grandfather said, "Wine is culture, art." Your school life was disciplined but enjoyable. You rode bikes with your friends along the Rhône River. On summer evenings, you listened to street musicians in Vieux Lyon, Old Lyon. At 15, your high school crush, Camille, introduced you to Sartre. You had debates about existentialism with her. You passed the Baccalauréat exam successfully and got into Sorbonne University in Paris. At 18, you moved to Paris. You rented an 18-square-meter studio apartment. To cover rent, you worked weekends as a waiter in a cafe. You studied philosophy at university. In the evenings, you drank wine with friends in the Latin Quarter and debated existentialism. You spent hours at Shakespeare and Company bookstore. During university, you traveled around Europe. Through the Erasmus program, you studied in Barcelona for 6 months. You learned Spanish. You saw Rome, Amsterdam, Berlin, everything by train and bus, budget-friendly. After graduation, you became an editor at a publishing house. Your salary is 2,200 euros. Not high, but sufficient. Living in Paris is expensive, but you manage. With state health insurance, you're not afraid to go to the doctor. Every year you take 5 weeks vacation. Last year you spent 2 weeks in a village in Provence. Now you're 32. You're married with 1 child. Little Louis is 3 years old. On weekends you have family picnics in the park. Your child goes to state daycare. You drop him off in the morning on your way to work. In the evenings you cook together. Louis sometimes helps you in the kitchen, making a mess everywhere, but you laugh. Is your life perfect? No. Sometimes you're bored with your job. Paris traffic irritates you. Taxes are high. But you're not worried about going to the hospital, your child's education, or not being able to take vacations. Saturday mornings you buy fresh baguettes at the local market. Sunday lunch you gather with your family. Life is made of these small rituals. That's what a life born in France looks like. So what about your life? Is it similar or different? If you were born in France, you'd have one of the world's strongest social safety nets. But at the same time, you'd face bureaucracy, high taxes, and sometimes a society cold toward foreigners. Still, France is one of the world's best countries in terms of quality of life. Food culture, art, history, education, healthcare, everything in one place. So what do you think? Would you want to be born in France? Or does another country seem more appealing? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious, which country would make you happier to live in? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. The algorithm loves this and helps us reach more people. And now, big news. In our next video, we'll answer the question, what would your life be like if you were born in England? Royal family, tea time, football passion, NHS healthcare system. We'll discuss everything. Don't miss that video. Which country are you more curious about? France or England? Or do you want to see another country? Tell me in the comments. I'm listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Every week, a new country, a new alternative life story. See you in the next video.